Alright, so good, evil, morality, and misplaced love. I I made a video on this earlier, which I was playing piano while talking about this, just improvising music. And unfortunately, I can't be heard over it. It's still somewhere in my uploaded video archive. So if you want to hear me mumble over piano, then it's there. Um, Anyways, good, evil, morality. Basically, my definition of morality is intelligence. Essentially, business intelligence is a baseline morality in my viewpoint. A good businessman has good business partners. They trade in a way which both sides benefit because two people together can do more work than one, or two professionals are better than one person trying to be a jack of all trades. And it's better than business as it is in the U.S., which is kind of slavery, because the people who each run their little chunk of how everything works together, um, they aspire to do well at what they do. So you end up with a faster growing system. That's my basic morality concept: is that you should always do what you can to benefit yourself, and that includes other people, because if you're not benefiting the people you interact with, you're not going to have people to interact with eventually. It's just being intelligent. It has nothing to do with good or evil. But for the sake of talking about them, how I like to define good and evil is basically, to me, evil is wasting time. That's that seems to be the most core thing I can find in all of good and evil, is that within evil there's a lot of wasted time. And within good, there's basically a lot of optimizing. And I should say I'd like to redefine the word optimist to mean someone who takes a situation and improves it to be, better, faster, stronger, rather than someone who is in denial and says everything's good. That's just denial. That's not optimism. Optimism, I think, requires accepting how bad things are first and then finding a solution. So, to me, that's what being good is. And it's not about fairy tales. It's not about being positive all the time. And in fact, this is what the misplaced love thing is about: is being overly approbative, approving too much. Approbable circles are ones in which everyone approves of each other, commonly called a circle jerk. So, look at this guy. Oh, Billy. So, religious sex, groups are one of these examples of something that's really, really approving of itself. It's optimistic of its own, life, and I don't think that's a good thing. I personally think that's actually evil, because in the end, a lot of time is wasted on being incorrect, on holding on to old ideas which have long since been disproven, merely for the sake of not having to deal with the fact that we don't know and we're wrong most of the time about everything. Um, Similarly, most cultures, in fact, pretty much every culture, is one of these situations in which, for whatever reason, people are circular approving, or consistently all being approbative of certain traits. And I talked in another video, reality versus whatever else. It's fine. It's not actually evil, because if no one did that, then it would be even more of the thing I'm saying. If everyone was only approving of not being not creating these circles, these circle jerks, these approbative circles. If everyone was against that, then it would just be a circle jerk against circle jerks. It would be not. I mean, which I should make another video on this. Conundrums, opposites, dualities, and how they consistently seem to be a final answer, which, believe it or not, I believe in. I believe conundrums are the final answer. That a circle jerk against circle jerks. It's the most hypocritical thing. And it's, like hating hate. It seems hypocritical, but it's terminal. Maybe that's the ultimate good. Maybe it's somewhere in between. I like to think the very center. Actually, I kind of like to think of it like a peak. Let's see if I can make this shape with my arms. So it's like a pin drop. The very top, this is reality. You can't reach it, and then it curves down, and then here's the valley, and this is where it's easy to be, where you have your beliefs, So the very center, this is reality. This is like, the scope, pardon me, of science. This is, like the flat area, just the valley of different simple things to be. Home is center. It's where we all start. The further out you go, the further you get from home. And it's a waste of time at a certain point. At a certain point, you're just getting further away from essentially everything, except for one simple idea. Like, the more you aspire to be a single concept, a single character, the less you're ever able to be all the other characters, the other things you could do and feel and enjoy. You forfeit those. I think that's wasting time. That's probably another part of evil. So this actually covers both sides of what people consider good and evil. They're both, in my eyes, evil to the most part. Like, people consider being really, how you say, altruistic, putting yourself out there, being incredibly loving, taking pain for others. They consider that positive. I consider it being overly selfless, being unrealistic, and creating a character which doesn't make sense, and which, basically just inspires people to not be who they really are. Because you're not being who you really are. Also, it kind of creates an opposite, and I'll cover that in opposites video, where someone will then become altruistic, in a sense where they, in a bad way, like maltruistic or something, where they create pain no matter how much it hurts them. That's one of the things that happens. Misplaced love fits in well with the altruism, and it's a big part of what I believe to be evil, which is basically you can't be approving of everything. Sometimes you have to tell people it's time to go back home. It's time to go back to center, back to reality, back to the place where we all agree. Sometimes you go too far. And I personally believe, the whole reason I talk about this, that like reality, it's just too much. It's too... If you always want to stay in reality, you never use totalities. Watch the video. And then it's annoying, because no one ever says anything opinionated, no one ever has an opinion, no one ever has a character, no one ever has anything that's a style. It's annoying. So I don't support that, but I do support, pushing to be close to home, still towards a character. Still have your identity, but still keep it in limbo where it's not really solid. It's a character you embody, but it's not quintessential to your being. You wouldn't die if you stopped being the person you are. That's what I consider to be the ultimate good center. Or not center, it's actually between center and the outside. It's like this circle, and you can move around, plenty of places to go, plenty of people to be, things to see, always close to home, always able to reach out if you want to. The more people that are there, the easier it is to be pulled in, and that's, I guess, if evil is wasting time, it's probably wasting time by creating situations in which everyone continues to do what they're doing, even if it's maybe time to evolve and progress the concept. I'm going to pause, actually. So then, by that token, good would be where you try and bring people back to center. So I'm going to have a second part to this.